If you have lived a blissful, sensible, and fulfilled life, you will compassionately hug death. But if not, then death will do the hugging. Namaste everyone. This is Yogi Sagar, and today I am going to talk about my experience of reading the book called Death by Sadhguru. Largely it is found in the societies that people don't like to talk about this word called death. They don't like to mention it, they don't like to hear it. Never has it occurred to anyone that why is it so? Very few cultures are consciously and responsibly looking at this very term and the very fact that everybody is going to die. According to Hindu tradition, Hindus see that materialistic life or the wealthy life, what we say, is not the highest one can achieve in their life. Also, the heavens is not one of the highest that one can achieve in their life. The only highest thing in the life one can actually strive for to achieve is liberation. Hindus value liberation as one of the highest things one can strive for. Liberation from everything. There are many other terms which you call as mukti, moksha or nirvana. So if you are one of those who understand death as mukti or liberation, then you are in for a very big surprise. This book clearly segments or clearly differentiates what death is and what mukti and liberation is. So if you are one of those who get a little bit scared or frightened when they hear the word death, or when you see people talking about death, or when they see people who are dead, in the sense when they see someone who is being cremated or someone who is about to be cremated, then this book is definitely for you. And if you are one of those who are okay with what you have seen and you in a way have accepted that death is part of life, then this book is also definitely for you, because in both ways you are nowhere near to the exact knowledge of what is going to actually happen. Some people may say that what's the point of reading this book? Anyway, it's going to happen. To that, what I have to say is that if you know anyway it is going to happen, then why to remain unaware about it? So let's explore the chapters in this book. There are in all 12 chapters, and each chapter significantly expresses the various stages of how a death can happen, or what death is all about, and many other things about the word called death. Chapter 1. What is death? First, death, the most fundamental questions. Second, mortal nature. Third, exploring death. Fourth, is death a calamity? Fifth, stop inviting death. In chapter 1, you will understand what death really is and what we know as death. These are two different segments. For example, let's say when you stand in front of a mirror. When you stand in front of the mirror, you say that I see myself, but in reality you are only seeing your reflection. These are two different things, though they give the same result. So in this context, here in this book, it explains what actually death is in the metaphysical terms and what we know death as it happens. Chapter 2. The process of death. First, what makes us tick? Second, a bubble of life and death. Third, understanding life and death. Fourth, Panch Pranas, the 5 vital energies. Fifth, the sequence of death. Sixth, Chakras, the gateways of exit. For people who think death happens like a bang, you are in for a surprise in chapter 2. But for people who think that death happens in a process, you are in for a bigger surprise. Chapter 3. The quality of death. First, types of deaths. Second, predictions of death. Third, negative energies. Fourth, suicide, a perspective. Fifth, succor for the suicidal. Sixth, the consequences of suicide. As for chapter 3, let me ask this question to you. Suppose you are born in a very rich family where you have money for at least 10 lifetimes. And then, if someone comes and asks you this question, what kind of life would you like to live? A loving, kind, and a sensible one, or a hating, unkind, and an insensitive one, or an insensible one? We definitely know what you will choose. So, you better understand that the quality of life is very much important, or what quality of life you live is very important. Similarly, what quality of death you die is also very important. So your quality of death will determine your way or your journey to the next life, or maybe not if you're heading for mukti or liberation. Chapter 4. Can death be hacked? This chapter covers following sections. First, cheating death. Second, the dance of death. Third, transmigration. Fourth, seeking immortality. Fifth, seeking the next dimensions. For people who want to be immortal, chapter 4 will enlighten you about the very fact that the cheats which you have in this exam will not serve you well, because everybody has different question papers, though from the same syllabus. Chapter 5th, Mahasamadhi. This chapter covers the following sections. First, Samadhi and death. Second, enlightenment and death. Third, Mukti and Mahasamadhi. Fourth, a few Mahasamadhis. Chapter 5. I don't want to say anything more about this chapter other than this, and here it goes. There is no more beautiful way to die than taking a Mahasamadhi. Chapter 6. Preparing for a good death. This chapter covers the following sections. First, does death need preparation? Second, sleep, ojas, and death. Third, why do people fear death? Fourth, how to deal with the fear of death. Fifth, how to live one's old age. Sixth, the wisdom of Vanaprastha ashrama. Seventh, the practice of Sallekhana. Eighth, the significance of dying in Kashi. So chapter 6. Suppose your boss is coming at your place for a dinner. Will you not make best possible arrangements for dinner? Unless he's a horrible person and definitely you have had it with him, that's a different story. But what you will do is you will try to make best possible arrangements for him. So now, if you are trying to make best possible arrangements for your boss for the dinner, just for the dinner, how much efforts or arrangements you are supposed or you will make for your death? Your death, which will relieve you from your pain and pleasures. Confusing. Pleasures? Why one should be relieved from the pleasures? That's the trick, my friend. Chapter 7. Assistance for the dying. The importance of the last moments of the life. Second, helping suffering people die. Third, about dying at home. Fourth, rituals from death to the disposal of the body. Fifth, is it alright to donate organs? Sixth, dematerializing the body. Chapter 7. Here we enter the process of death and how important it is for a person who is dying to pass away swiftly. I personally never thought in my life that the phase of dying or phase of passing away is that important. But this chapter cleared all the doubts and made me much more aware about the process. If you are one of those persons who are thinking that it is good to die among your family members or your close ones or your friends, then you are in for a very big surprise. Chapter 8. Assistance for the disembodied. First, why are after death rituals needed? Second, Runanubandha, the web of death. Third, Kala Bhairava Karma, an after death ritual at Isha. Fourth, the scope of Kala Bhairava Karma. Fifth, training people for death rituals. Sixth, the death of infants. Seventh, the parent offspring connection in the afterlife. 8. The importance of death anniversaries. 9. Ancestor worship. 10. Of heaven and hell. This chapter explains about the importance of rituals, death anniversaries, or other practices which we generally do to influence the person who has already exited the body. It is a very eye-opening chapter which gives us a real proof or say a real explanation where the person who has already exited the body and how we can still have an access to him, where we can help him sail his future journey in a peaceful and a blissful way. Chapter 9 of Grief and Mourning. First, the essential nature of grief. Second, going beyond grief. Third, articles of the dead. Fourth, empathetic death. Fifth, large scale death and its consequences. Sixth, mourning period. Seventh, memorials, samadhis, and pyramids. After reading this chapter, I would like to say one thing. For the ones who have already gone, please don't go with them too long. In the sense that one should not mourn for their loved ones for more than a certain period of time. Now, why one should not do it is explained in a much more beautiful and a practical way so that you will understand that the implications and the consequences of it are not desirable. Chapter 10 The Life of a Ghost. First, what are ghosts? Second, ghost troubles. Third, ghost solutions. Fourth, dissolving frozen beings. Fifth, Nirmana Kaya. Sixth, downloading beings. My only experience with the ghost till now in my life was supported by electricity. Till the TV was on, they were there in my life. Once the electricity was gone or the TV was off, they were not. But now, after reading the book, I realized that even after the electricity is gone or the TV is gone, they still exist among us. Without electricity and without TV. Chapter 11 The Riddle of Reincarnation. First, taking on a new body. Second, the arithmetic of reincarnation. Third, past life recollection in children. Fourth, exploring past lives. Fifth, baby Hitler. Sixth, couples for lifetimes. Seventh, the only enduring relationship. 8. Life beyond 1,000 moons. 9. Birth, always a beginning. 10. The rebirth of lamas. 11. My past lifetimes. 12. Will I come back? I bet this is one of the most pondered questions everyone must have gone through their life at least once. Is that will I be reborn or will I reincarnate? This chapter is eye widener for the people. I say eye widener because by now your eyes must have been easily wide open. So this chapter is eye widener where it throws light on the connections between the past and the next life. What happens when you explore past lives and how the previous lives influence the next lives or the coming lives. And this also answers one of the most important questions which all the Ishites or maybe non-Ishites are also looking for, is that will Sadhguru or will he be coming back? Chapter 12 Final Round. First, one drop spirituality. Second, once you made a mistake of. In the final chapter, one drop spirituality. Sadhguru has always explained in his speeches the importance of a drop in ocean. How important a drop can be for ocean, and similarly how important the ocean can be for a drop. This chapter will help you understand the importance of a single drop of spirituality in your bucket of life. So why spiritual practices or a spiritually oriented life, or at least a spiritual touch by a drop, is very important for a human life and also for the other lives as well, which comes in the later other books in what Sadhguru has mentioned. And the other part of the chapter also suggests one of the most beautiful mistakes you can ever make. I am happy, I am very blessed, and I consider myself very fortunate that I got multiple chances to actually commit the same mistake, which I am very happy about. I didn't just try to perfect the mistake every single time. I think every Ishite is, or every other person who wants to sit in presence of Sadhguru is. So what that mistake is, if you have gotten by the hint, then you have got it, or else if you want to know it, then you definitely have to read this book, which is again I'm telling, it's death. So if you have lived a blissful, sensible and fulfilled life, the time when the time comes will be your time. But if not, then the time when the time comes will be a wake-up time for you. Namaste.